So welcome back everybody, my name is Andrew and you're watching the Kelley's Country Life. And in today's episode, we're gonna continue to work on the kitchen. I wanna get this off of my list so we can move on to bigger projects around the house. So today, I think we're gonna start with mounting our over-range microwave. Now, I just recently did a cabinet building episode where I showed modifications of this cabinet. I'll put it at the end of this video if you would like to go back and watch that and see how we got to this point. But today, we're actually going to mount the big over-range microwave to the wall. Then we're gonna start running our ductwork up and through into the attic, ultimately tying it to the outside wall and venting outside the house. So these microwaves offer three different types of venting: straight out behind them through the wall, up through the ceiling, which is what we're gonna do, or a recirculation feature, basically to where it just somewhat filters the air, pumps it right back inside. I found that feature does not work well at all with these types of microwaves. So this is gonna be a pretty filled up episode. After we get down the microwave, we're also gonna do cabinet trim. So we're gonna put some filler pieces above the refrigerator, close up this gap, make it look a little better. Trim all along the top side of the cabinets. I got a special type of trim for that. We have pieces that we need to fill large gaps over here. So who knows what all we'll get into on this episode. Like I said, let's start with this microwave, get it knocked out, start completing this kitchen. So here is our over-the-range microwave that we purchased. This is a Whirlpool. That's what we went with for pretty much every appliance in the house. And I had to go to Lowe's to pick up this adapter piece right here. So there is a 3.5 or 3.25 by 10-inch damper that comes with these microwaves. And I have duct sealed it down, attached this piece to it so I can convert from a rectangle vent out of the microwave to a round vent because I have 6-inch pipe and elbows already here. So now that this is attached and the cabinet is cut out so we can slide this up through. So now what we need to do is put this mounting bracket on the wall. This is truly what's going to support the microwave. It locks in the bottom, you rotate the microwave up, and you'll bolt through the upper cabinet. So now that I have this bracket locked into the bottom side of the microwave, I can get an idea on where to mount it. We know that the top of the microwave is going to touch the bottom side of the cabinet. So we'll get a measurement here and figure out where to mount this on the wall. So now what I'll do is come in here and make me a mark 17 inches down from this cabinet. All right, so now what I'll do is I'll use my laser over here. You can set it up anywhere because they are self-leveling. I'm just going to shoot me a straight line across from that mark I just made. If you don't have one of these, you could use a smaller bubble level that'll fit inside those cabinets and make you a straight line from that. All right, so now that I have this laser line right here, what I can do is line this up, get this perfectly centered, and screw this in. Now this is a time that you want to find studs in the wall if you need to find those with a stud finder. I have one as well, but I went ahead and blocked out this entire kitchen for the microwave cabinets, everything with 2x6 blocking in the wall before we ever put up sheetrock. That way I knew anytime I attached something like this, I was going to hit solid wood no matter how I tried to put this in. All right, so with 2 lag bolts holding this in that was provided, there is no way this microwave is going anywhere. This is 2 support points, so this is where you really do need those bolts at. Now once we set the microwave in and rotate it up, we need to have perfectly drilled holes through the upper cabinet, and the cabinet needs to be really secure to the wall, which this one is, because we're gonna run bolts down through, holding up the front of the microwave so it doesn't fall over. Now most microwaves are going to come with a template that you can put out here, and as you can see, this one actually has where the hole locations are. This shows to put to the back of the wall. So what you can do is tape this template up, which I'll do, and then make a mark real quick where the 2 bolt holes are and just drill through to the upper side of the cabinet. Okay, now that I used the template to mark my 2 holes right here, I'm going to drill through the cabinet. And I'm going to use the 2 provided screws or bolts, have those staged up here and ready. So whenever I put this into place, I can screw those in, locking this microwave into the wall. All right, so as you can see, I had to wind up taking that top damper off, which, that bothers me. It's gonna be so hard to get this sealed up properly once this is inside the cabinet, but we're gonna have to make do. All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead and get one of these screws in. Luckily that hole lined up perfectly. Now the microwave cannot fall back out on me. All right, so what you've seen that I've done, you have to bring the microwave in at an angle, lock it into these two tabs back here, and then rotate it upwards. That's why I could not have that damper in place. I was hoping I could fit it in, but I just can't. All right, so now the microwave is secured, and I need to figure out how to get this transition piece back over the damper and get it taped in as best I possibly can in this extremely tight space. All right, so now I'm gonna take some of this foil, actual HVAC tape that's made just for ductwork and sealing up things like this. And I'm gonna try to get that sealed to the microwave, this piece right here, as best I can. I'll show you when I'm done. Okay, so I now have the damper in. It took me quite a while to get everything sealed up in these tight spaces. Even did a little bit of sealing inside some of this foil tape. And now the critical part. I have to get a hole way up there to the bottom floor, perfectly centered of this hole. Drill a little hole through and go up there and sketch out so I can drop my pipe all the way down into here. So what I did is I just poked a hole through the floor down here, dead center of where the vent stack should come through. So now I'm going to trace this pipe out and cut it out with a jigsaw. So I cut the hole out extra large to make sure I had plenty of room, and I'll go back and seal around that later with some expanding foam. All right, so now I'm gonna take some of this 6-inch pipe, snap it together, drop it down, lock everything in, and then I'll start measuring to where I need to make my cuts and put my elbows in to vent outside. All right, so the last thing to do is I just fired the microwave vent fan up, checked for any leaks, and now I'm going to seal this last little bit of foam that I had to open up to slide all my pipes together with this foam gun right here. I'm probably going to go out and purchase what's called mastic to put over any of these rotating joints, just to make for sure we don't ever pump any nasty air or anything we're trying to get out of the kitchen up here into the attic, and it for sure makes it outside. So whenever we designed these cabinets with the Lillian company and did a 3D rendering, we purposely left a gap on this wall right here to allow for any irregularities in the wall and between the cabinets. And what you do is you go back and fill that in with a filler piece. Now it just so happens, based on our measurements, we thought this was going to fit just about perfectly, and what you can do with the filler piece is trim it, cut it at an angle, however you need to finish off a section of cabinets. Well, it just so happens this piece fits in there, and we've got about an additional 1/4 inch gap. So what I'm going to do is attach this filler piece to the side of this cabinet, and then we'll do some sort of corner trim to hide that last little bit of gap and finish the cabinets off. All right, so before we get on to cutting the trim, I need to change out my saw blade. I'm currently using a 32 tooth rough cut construction saw blade. The less teeth, the quicker it cuts, but it leaves a rougher cut. Definitely not what you want for trim. So I've got a fine tooth blade, 60 teeth. Takes more cut, smaller cuts, and again keeps that trim from splintering out to where whenever you butt things together, you don't want to see that rough cut. That's not a problem whenever you're using trim that you're going to paint, but that is a problem when you're using wood trim like this, to where there's no caulk or paint to hide any imperfections. All right, so once I get my trim piece in, I've got two options to secure it that I can see. I could shoot some brad nails up through the face frame into the piece of trim to keep it from ever working its way back out, but I'm very concerned about doing that. Brads, if they don't get driven in perfect, they can actually kick out, blow out the trim, blow out the face frame, ruining this cabinet, and I would always see that. So I've decided the safer route is to drill a couple of holes for each piece of trim and run a screw up through, kind of just like how I attach these face frames. You can make that look really good, and pin down this trim with just a couple of screws. The other option would be to brad nail from the outside and then use some filler material that they also provided in a touch-up kit, but you can still see the nails that way. So I kind of prefer to not face nail or risk blowing out this trim at all. All right, so what I have done here is I took some of the flooring that's going to be going down in the house, put that down, then I put our decorative toe kick down here. It's just an 8-foot piece of trim to make sure that I get the proper spacing, proper height before I set these decorative panels in. So now what I'm doing is just kind of eyeballing these panels, setting them on top of that toe kick. I'll raise them up just a little to make sure I have room for whenever I put flooring in. And what I'm doing now is trying to set the proper spacing and get the look that I want here. Okay, so now that I have everything set up and spaced evenly, I've got to figure out how I want to attach these. I'm probably going to shoot some screws in through the top side of the cabinet, which will go through that plain piece of paneling that we just put on, and then it'll go right into the thick face frame of these decorative doors right here, essentially sandwiching everything together. Then you won't see any fasteners from the outside. Then I can remove this toe kick because we don't need to install that until after the flooring's in and I know everything is spaced properly for my final trim, which we'll do down the road. Okay, so now that I'm satisfied with everything, I'm going to drill me a hole through the cabinet and the paneling, stopping before I get to the door, and then we're going to shoot some screws through into that. I may do this top and bottom. And another reason that I'm wanting to blind screw all this together, no brad nails, no nothing, if for any reason I need to shift or move this countertop, I did not want these panels glued on, nailed on. I can take the screws back out, remove the floor anchors. If something doesn't match up right with the countertop, anything else, I just wanted to be sure that it was removable. All right, well, I apologize for the lighting. As y'all can see, it is late at night. I'm just now filming my outro, but man, what a difference that the decorative panels and all makes. It's not just a plain back of the cabinets. Looks good. Also stuck one on the end right here, a decorative door panel. Just gives it a nice finished look. Now we still have a lot left to do. Finish out some corners with some trim, do the toe kicks on all the cabinets, but we will not complete that until we get the flooring down. So as you can see, the upper cabinets now have some nice trim. We use that light rail molding that's typically used on the bottom of the cabinet, but it looks great. It really fills in that gap up there, gives us a nice clean look. We've also closed up the gap of the refrigerator. I know some of y'all are concerned about venting there. I have a plan for that in the future that we'll talk about. And all that's left is one tiny little piece of trim in the corner here, but my brad nailer bit the dust on me today, so we have another one on the way. All right, well, it's definitely time to wrap this up. I got to get inside, finish editing this video. Hopefully y'all enjoyed it. The microwave's in, and I've had a lot of people ask about that, concerned about the height of the microwave, but it's not a concern at all. Look at this. Look at the height of me here. I think the camera really throws it off, but I mean, it's way below eye level. We can easily see what's going on in the microwave. Tiffany's only about 1 inch to 2 inches shorter than me, so this is plenty good for us right here. So kitchen is wrapped up for now. Next will be countertops at some point, doing the flooring, finishing out the last of the trim, and then sink, plumbing, things like that. Slowly, we're going to get this kitchen off the list. Now, as y'all may have seen in the background on this video or heard, some equipment was running today. Septic is going in, so that's an upcoming video. We're going to jump on finishing the siding on the outside of the house. Even though you can't see, we're going to start prepping this ceiling in here for tongue and groove pine. We have interior doors that we can install that's hiding in here, all kinds of stuff. So we have plenty of more videos coming. Thank y'all so much for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.